This is the story of three strangers who were shipwrecked on a strange Rimworld and their story of survival. My name is Drunkonlife, I'm your host, and this is my Rimworld Stories series where I narrate things as they unfold. The storyteller is Randy Ruff with a random biome and completely random strangers. I just chose the first three and ran with them. Of course, I also did commitment mode as well. For the complete unedited episodes, you can check out my Rimworld VODs on Twitch. There's a link in the description below. And this is what happened. The pods crashed down on the 1st of August, and slowly 3 survivors and a dog popped out of the escape pods. At first they were slow to move, cautious and a little sick from the impact. They eyed each other over, uncertainly, but were grateful that they weren't alone. They wondered how many more would be in the area. Surely it couldn't be just the 3 of them. Trash and debris and a handful of supplies were strewn across the immediate vicinity. One of the survivors, Wombadger, decided to try to organize the other 2. They'd need to gather the supplies and find shelter before the night. They'd also need to look for other survivors in the area. They chose a spot nestled between 2 bodies of water. It was a building in ruins, but one that could easily be rebuilt and taken over. Wombadger took it upon herself to use the wood they found to build beds as well as secure the building kind of roughshod. The other 2 spent the first day hauling the supplies and searching for survivors. After searching the area, they determined that there were no other survivors. They had found enough supplies to maybe last them 15 days. Wombadger mentioned that although rescue was possible, they should probably prepare for a potential long stay, at least longer than 15 days. She said that they should decide duties according to what they knew. Being an entertainer and good with the gift of gab, Wombadger elected herself as the 3 spokesman. She also said she was good at cooking, so she made herself the head cook. Since no one else knew a thing about construction, the group also made her the chief constructor for the colony. Pie Eater said she was taught how to hunt by her father, so she took the rifle and became the group's hunter. It was decided she would be in charge of planting crops as well. She said she had a green thumb. Research would be delegated to her as well. And Urias? Urias had barely spoken a word to the 2 other than the occasional word fire under her breath. The 2 wondered what that meant, so they decided to give her light duties. She would just clean and haul until they learned more about her. They slept their first night under the stars and decided in the morning they would get to work. They needed to complete the work on their first building and start chopping some wood so they could create a building to cover their supplies. Wombadger also said they needed to expand this building so they could have more space. They also needed to build a grow zone, so Pie Eater said that she could plant some potatoes. The next day started with an eclipse. Urias wondered if this was a bad omen. On day 4, Wombadger finished the buildings and told Pie Eater they should name their colony. She suggested that they name their faction Drunk's Motley Crew of Fools. She said it was an honor of perhaps the best-looking man she'd ever seen. Pie Eater imagined him as being very handsome. The name of the settlement would be called Xanadu-doo, she sang. And yes, she really sang. Wombadger also built Pie Eater a research table. She said she feared the prospect of being here when it turned cold and told her she missed the days of having lights. Pie Eater decided she would first learn how to make batteries and then solar panels. She got quickly to work. With their food supplies dwindling, Wombadger asked Pie Eater if she ever planned to hunt. Pie Eater told Wombadger she would hunt if and when Wombadger built a stove. That day, Wombadger not only built a stove, but also started thinking about security for the colony. Just in case, she told herself. Just in case. Things were going very well for the colony so far. Potatoes were growing at a decent pace. They had venison, and Wombadger was slowly expanding the colony. Very soon, we will have our own room, she exclaimed. Pie Eater had just learned how to build batteries and was in the process of learning how to build solar panels. The only thing that could have been bad was that there was a stomach bug going around. Pie Eater could barely keep anything down. Was it a stomach bug or something else? On day 11, a mad rat made its way to the colony. Pie Eater decided to try to take it out. Apparently, trying to shoot tiny things is hard, as the tiny rat crisscrossed the terrain to her, eventually biting her on the neck and torso and giving her a rat headbutt to her right arm. Urias woke up to the commotion and ran straight to her, killing the rat with her knife. "Stupid, stupid girl," Urias exclaimed. "You could have gotten yourself killed." It was the first complete sentence Pie Eater had heard Urias speak. On the very same day, Wombadger collapsed on the floor. Urias found her laying in the hallway leading up to where she was building their bedrooms. It was food poisoning, a major bout. Wombatcher would later confess that she didn't really know how to cook, but was really trying really hard. The next day, the sky lit up and the colony heard a crash nearby. It was yet another survivor. When the group went to investigate, they found a middle-aged woman with a beautiful mohawk that was seriously injured. The group had to make a decision. Did they leave her to die on the rim or save her? Pie Eater noted she could be dangerous and that she should probably be quarantined until they knew more about her. Wombatcher set up a cot in one of the newly built rooms, and they brought the stranger back to the colony. Predators around the settlement had become an issue. On day 13, a warg was hunting Crawford, the colony's dog. In a split-second decision, Wombatcher pulled out her gun to try to protect the dog. Her first shot hit the warg squarely on its hindquarters, causing it to turn and charge Wombatcher. The fighting was intense. The warg was just starting to get the better of Wombatcher when Urias showed up, stabbing and killing the warg, but not before the damage had been done. Wombatcher was badly injured during the fight. Urias did her best to clean up her wounds, but an infection immediately started festering in her body. Wombatcher conquered her infection, but she was out of commission for several days. Because she was the head cook, the colony's resources dwindled. Malnourished and starving, Wombatcher went into a rage, obsessively cleaning the room, with little regard to her own well-being. Urias watched her, amused that someone would react this way to starvation. It was starting to get colder on the rim, and Pie Eater had yet to learn how to build solar panels, but was learning more and more each day. Urias spent much of her day cleaning the building, and Wombatcher went back and forth between building stuff for the colony and talking to the stranger who was living with them. She learned that the stranger was a psychiatric patient. Wombatcher talked to her about the community and told her a childhood story about what loyalty meant. She inquired about the stranger's fighting skills, and the stranger told her she was a pacifist. She learned that the stranger's name was Coffee with a Y. What a stupid name, Wombatcher thought to herself. On day 20, Pie Eater had a breakthrough. She now had the blueprints for solar panels. This was a good thing because it had become noticeably colder and the colony desperately wanted some creature comforts, something to remind them of home. She decided her next blueprint would be smithing because they needed better weapons. Wombatcher had just finished setting up the batteries and solar panels when some tribespeople from the Black Plateau decided to attack the colony. It was the first time they'd seen anyone else who'd actually lived on the rim. The group sprung into action, waiting for the attack. One lone warrior emerged through the trees. He was easily dispatched, although the group worried that it could have simply been a scout. Around the same time, a merchant from the Red Sound kinship entered their territory. Wombatcher was elated. Finally, she could use her amazing social skills to help her colony. She considered herself a regional social master, but was surprised to learn that she had a hard time understanding because of her hearing. The merchant wasn't selling much anyway, but she decided to take advantage. She bought all the pemmican and 5 smoke leaf joints. Surely that would lift the colony's spirit. On the 7th of October, Wombatcher officially asked Coffee to join the colony, and Coffee happily accepted. There'd been a vote the night before, and everyone agreed that another set of hands would be great around the colony. Wombatcher said that they would change her name to KPK, that Coffee was a dumb name, and that she could haul and clean mostly with Urias. KPK asked if she could also research, and the group agreed. Temperatures were starting to plummet, but thanks to the solar panels, Wombatcher was able to make heaters for several of the rooms. The addition of KPK made for a cleaner colony, but it was yet another mouth to feed. Their clothes in tatters and food low, Wombatcher wondered to herself if they had prepared enough for what looked to be a very long winter. And this is where we stop the episode. In the next episode, we will see how the colony fares in the cold, harsh environment of the boreal forest. If you enjoyed this Rimworld narrative, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. If you're new to the channel, you can always subscribe to know when the next episode drops. And finally, if you'd like to watch the unedited videos of this narrative, I'll left a link in the comments below. It's going to my Twitch channel. It's a VOD, about an hour and a half long. Until next time, I bid you adieu, my friends. Stay safe on the rim.